it's like happened so fast. It's not really about like the idea for Terracotta, which was initially just supposed to be like voicemail that automates like 80% of those calls are just going to go to voicemail. Even still, that's primarily actually what the task is. The main thing to say with the map is it's flexible now. It's fast and it's like really flexible. I don't want to like just make like content for the sake of making it or because it's grabby or like catches people's attention. I want it to be like authentic and stuff that I care about.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Commercial Real Estate Podcast. I think this might be, correct me if I'm wrong, Jesse, but I think this is our first repeat guest, right?
That's a good question. I think it is.
I just realized that. Yeah, I just realized that right as I started doing the intro. Yeah, this is our first repeat guest. So we have Koos Boswell from Terracotta AI. We had him on almost a year ago. We were looking at it. We dropped it Christmas Day last year, and it was a really popular episode. Obviously, AI is a huge topic in every business aspect, just in life in general. And to have AI paired with, commercial real estate is valuable. So we had a bunch of people reach out to us. We've seen you guys, doing really well. We've heard your name and, mentioned in a lot of really successful people's mouths. So we're excited to have you back on and kind of hear what's going on and updates. I know there's been a ton. You guys have been working hard for the last year. So thanks for coming back on, man.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much for having me again. I didn't know that I was the first repeat, but that's an honor. So I'm happy to be back. Yes, it feels like this past year has been it's like happened so fast. You're in it every day. I'm sure as you guys can relate to. It's not really about like going in one day and suddenly fixing everything or like solving everything or like having this huge splash sort of campaign to generate new businesses, like just showing up every day. So when I look back on it, I'm like, wow, we have gotten connected with folks like Bob Knackle, like you all, you both, I should say, Viva, we were at CREI with Ken. So in terms of who we've been able to interact with and work with, tons of teams, folks on the investment side, which has been really exciting, acquisitions teams, lending teams. It's really been even things that you wouldn't necessarily see there being a good use case for, like roofing or moving or the concrete, like those types of gyms, like seeing some of those things pop up too. It's been really cool, and I think we've spent a ton of time just focusing on the product. And I think, like if the process is in order, I've been watching like Mike McDonald's weekly Seahawks like recaps, and he just talks about process. So it's like, okay, if we're talking with a lot of customers, listening to them, taking that back to the product, and then shipping really fast. And that's what I honestly would love to tell you guys all about. Like right now is like our new map, the browser extension that we have, some of the analytics, like reporting that we've added, has just come such a long way. And I think it's opened up all those doors for our business, and just like new ways for us to help folks in the business do what they want to do more efficiently, use AI. Like everyone hears about it, but there's not always a good way to implement it, a way to get value out of these tools. And so like being able to fill that gap that folks I think in this industry are looking for it's been like the best time of my life. Just to be honest, it's so much fun. I'm so grateful
Yeah,
to be
you
here.
guys are you're on the come up.
Exactly.
Yeah,
You're on the
for
come up
sure.
for sure.
Yeah.
This last year has been the come up for you guys. That's awesome. I think it's cool what you said. I was sitting there thinking about it, and obviously towards the end of the year, everybody's reflecting a lot on their goals they set and what they're going to do in the next year. And it's so easy. It's so easy to get caught up in the day to day and get stressed out and feel like you're not really making a lot of progress, because I catch myself doing that a lot. But then a whole year goes by, and you like for example, I was doing like an Instagram post about, because my family just moved, and I was looking through my camera roll. And I was like, holy crap, the amount of stuff that happens in a year and the amount of progress you make and the amount of things that change in a year is insane. And like, it's so easy to just get caught up in like, oh yeah, this year was good. But once you go back and look at the things that happen, if you've been striving to do better, then a lot of times like an insane amount of stuff can happen in a year. And I think that's like exactly what you described. Like, it's been a year, but you guys have blown up. You've blown up, and it's awesome. It's really cool to see. So I think it's easy to forget and just kind of be grateful for that stuff.
Absolutely, man. It's Thanksgiving time, brother. It's exactly. This year I was talking to my parents. I was like, wow. I was talking to my co-founders. I was talking to like our team. It's just like, wow, this has been so awesome. We're so lucky and blessed. Yeah, I I guess maybe it might be helpful just to introduce myself, if we're,
Yeah, that's a
Yeah,
good
for
idea.
sure.
For people who didn't listen
yeah.
to the last one, yeah, tell us a little, give us a little brief background.
Yeah, so my name is Kusima Boswell. I go by Kus for short. I'm from Seattle, Washington. Me and my co-founders, Gabe and Vincent Wilson, they are brothers, are both from Seattle, Washington. We met in middle and high school at Lakeside in Seattle, Washington. And Lakeside was unique in that it had a computer science program that was like really good. And so we all, I think, had all taken at least 2 years plus of programming before the time we graduated high school. Kind of like fast forward, they go to the University of Washington and Georgia Tech, both doing CS. I go to the University of Pennsylvania. I studied business, economics, got a minor in computer science, and then went to work in consulting. And that's kind of played an interesting role in the story of Terracotta, I think, and like what I do in my role. It's like a lot of interacting with customers, clients, like making sure we're delivering on what we want the product to. Fast forward from there, Gabe and Vincent and I get back in touch, and we're kind of like, hey, you guys want to work on a startup? Talk to some folks in the industry that we were, again, childhood friends with, and they started telling us their problems. We were listening. We were like, we totally think we could build some really helpful stuff for that. Applied to Y Combinator, and through that process of talking to folks, we came up with the idea for Terracotta, which was initially just supposed to be like a voicemail tool that automates like whoa, that was a cool effect.
Yeah, I didn't even
That
know that I didn't even know it could do that.
automates
That's cool.
yeah, that automates voicemails. And what it's turned into is an AI databasing and phone system designed really for anyone in commercial real estate. It makes the process of gathering high quality verified contact information a lot faster with AI. And then it's got a really souped up AI phone system is where I like to describe it. That lets you leave custom voicemails that sound just like you and are personalized.
Mhm.
It will help summarize kind of talk tracks and things like that. Scripting, I mean, tagging, organization, follow up. It just is kind of all there ready to go and streamlined, all powered kind of with AI. Behind that is the sort of orchestrator, and that's kind of what it's become. And when I demo it now versus like when we first talked, I'm like, most of the time people ask for something, I'm like, yes, we've thought about that, or this feature is exactly for that use case. And so it's really just AI for folks in commercial real estate.
Yeah, that's sick. I was
Yeah.
telling Jesse just before we started, he got a call too. You guys called us both yesterday, and left a voicemail. And I was like, if I didn't know this was Terracotta calling, like, I don't know if you guys planned that or if it was just like, in your outreach. I assume it's probably just in your outreach, which makes the
Yeah,
timing awesome because it was literally
yeah,
yesterday.
it really does.
Yeah. And it was like a voicemail. And I was like, if I didn't know what Terracotta was, I would think this was a human, but it was AI, right? Like, I'm almost positive it was an AI voice.
Yeah, yeah. Do you remember? Yeah, yeah, exactly. It's probably one of our team members. I think I can find the call.
Yeah, it was, let me
It,
see, the guy who said it was, wait, hold on. It was Chris
yeah,
from
I was gonna say
Terracotta.
Chris. Yeah,
Yeah.
man. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So that was
Yeah,
funny. And
Chris is the
I told
best.
Jeff, he was like, yeah, I got a call too. I was like, that's so funny.
Yeah, no, that's the thing. People don't really, like you're saying, like people check their voicemails. Like and now with the new iOS updates, I mean, they're adding like lots of different things, but one of the ones that's really great is like the voicemails pop up on your text message, sort of inbox, and it looks like a text message, so you read it and you actually like take in that information, you listen to it, and so yeah, that's
Mhm.
awesome. Chris is the man, and he is very good on the phone, and he makes a lot of calls, and he kind of just like embodies a lot of the early like in the first 3 months, like the sentiment of what we're doing. It's just like hit the phone to learn about calling, like learn how people respond on the phone,
Mhm.
just become experts in like calling as a core principle, and he's like phenomenal.
Yeah, that's so cool, man. So it's easy to, kind of summarize what it does, but in our experience, basically, in our workflow, what we've used it for is you'll cold call people. So you can either upload a list into it, or you can
Mhm.
have Terracotta skip trace it for you via AI. And then once they do that, you can go in there and cold call yourself. You can record a voice message yourself and then drop it, do like a voicemail drop. And if you're not familiar with that, basically you don't even have to call them, right? If you don't want to, you just press a button and it drops a voicemail. Or if it stops, like if you call them and you get the voicemail, you just click a button and it immediately drops the voicemail and moves to the next thing. And you might hear that if you don't cold call a lot and think, oh, that's cool. But if you're cold calling a lot of people and you leave the same voicemail, I timed it one time because I would like before you guys, it's pretty funny. I would like voice record on a memo on my computer, like my voicemail. Hey, this is Graham Story. I'm calling about your property. I'd make it more generic so I could just do the same voicemail, but it'd be like a 20 or 30-second voicemail. And so when I called them and they didn't answer and left the voicemail, I have to sit and wait for 30 seconds. If you make
Yeah.
100 cold calls, how fast you're obviously probably not going to get 100 voicemails, but if you make a bunch of calls, how many voicemails you're going to have to sit and wait through? 30 seconds adds up fast. So
Mhm.
that's a
Yeah.
cool feature.
But it's not
Yeah.
specialized. With obviously with Terracotta, you can type in exactly what you want to say. It knows your voice, and then it's going to personalize it for that person with the name, address, etc. So it makes it feel way less AI-ish.
Yeah. And
Yeah, I was just
oh,
gonna
go
say,
ahead.
Jesse, that's like a huge point. Is like the personalization, going back to what we were just
Mhm.
talking about, is like people are reading it. Like you guys both got the voicemails, talk to each
Yeah,
other about having got them. So like it's important that it feels like, it's like a normal message. Like AI,
yeah.
if it's gonna, represent you, like it should be like you and be personalized. So yeah, I think that's such a good point. And like you were saying, Graham, it's actually the number is 80%. So 80% of these calls on average go to voicemail. In Terracotta, that number is actually a little bit higher. It's closer to like 28, 32% because of some of the phone number matching that we're able to do where you can get a local area code
Mhm.
that, I mean, you probably get cold calls and it shows up as like your local area code and you're like, I'm pretty sure you're not here. And I don't know, this niche
Mhm.
town in the San Juans here in Seattle, for example. But yeah, that number's about, 80% of those calls are just going to go to voicemail. So even still, that's primarily actually what the task is. You need to be fresh. You need to have information in front of you, which I think Terracotta has come a long way in that regard. Like it shows you details. It has a link ready to go to the assessor website. It shows you details about the property, last sale date, price, square footage, number of units, some of those basic things that you need to get off the ground in a conversation.
Yeah. I
It
thought that
makes the
was
process
I was gonna
better.
say,
Yeah.
I think that's huge because a lot of times when we cold call, like before we were using Mojo, and if you call Mojo, any call or dialer can get a little confusing fast because you're just skipping from next thing to next
Oh
thing.
yeah.
So like if you were just using a regular dialer and it pops on to the next thing, you got to quickly go to Google Maps, pull up
Yeah.
the what the property looks like so you can actually have an idea of what you're talking about. So if they ask you something, you don't sound like an idiot. But
Yeah.
I think that was sick that when you do it with Terracotta, you have the little Crexy. I think it was either Crexy or CoStar. I think CoStar link where you can
Yeah.
just click that button, it pulls right up on LoopNet. That's cool. That's really
Yeah,
cool.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's exactly right. And like we think about that stuff a lot. Like what's the workflow? Like, is it like, I hit a shortcut and then I have that information pop up in a tab. It should be something that I click. Like, how often am I using this feature? Like, how do we need to refresh the information automatically? Like, if you notice when you press dial, regardless of whether you got it set or not, like Gabe, who's a
Mhm.
brilliant designer and engineer, has made it so that you see property insights no matter what. As soon as the call is going out, like you get like a little download or snapshot of what the property is, and you have links to shoot off from. You can open up your CRM by pressing Control O. I think we probably talked about that as one of the cooler features. Maybe I can't remember
I
the
don't think
timing
so.
last
Yeah,
year.
that's kind of
Yeah,
Yeah,
that
where I
sounds
was
new to
going with it.
me.
I was like, I was kind of summarizing some of the stuff that we
yeah,
learned about last time, but I know you mentioned you guys have a lot of new features.
Yeah.
And by the
yeah,
way, Terracotta, they didn't reach out and say, hey, let's come back on the podcast. We reached out to them and said, hey, we had
Yeah.
a lot of people reaching out. We had a lot of people have questions. We had a lot of people who are interested. So, and our podcast, fortunately has also grown quite a bit since the last time we spoke in
yeah.
the last year. And so we were like, let's get them back on and hopefully add value to more people, to you guys, and then also to our audience. So give us a recap of what has changed. I'm sure a lot's changed in a year, but
Yeah, yeah. So I guess we can talk about product and then we can talk about some of the things that we've been focusing on, or maybe like I've just been personally focusing on.
mhm.
And yeah, I just would want to shout out you guys too. Like I see this all over the place. I see it on LinkedIn. I see it, I've seen it on X, talk with others about it. Like it's
Heck yeah.
just, it goes back to what yeah, I mean, it's awesome. And I see too, obviously, you guys are, I see other stuff like that you're working on in this business, whether that's investment or brokerage, and I see like just more activity popping up, and I think that's one of the cool things about like what you're doing, like podcasts, and that's why I love doing things like this is it's like so cool to just have a genuine conversation, share kind of our, different experiences and what we're seeing and help each other grow. So that's
Mhm.
awesome.
Appreciate that, man.
Yeah, in terms of what is new in Terracotta, I'll start with the product first, and then I'll talk about like some of the things that we've learned, or like maybe like some of the things I focus on, or I feel like I'm spending lots of time on or thinking about, and then maybe too I want to obviously get into the good stuff like what's coming down the pipeline and what Gabe's got cooking up. Gabe and Vincent have cooking up on the product roadmap, and our engineering team. So we can talk about that too. But just to kind of give a rough overview, I think there's three main things that we've added to Terracotta that are really significant, and lots of other things, kind of as subcategories within those. But I think the three things are we built a really awesome like map. So the first like MVP version of Terracotta, even going way back like January 2024, was just a dialing component. So it's this phone system. And
Mhm.
when I was describing Terracotta, I said like, it's a databasing platform as well. So we've initially started with like, let's build the pipeline. So let's build like the engine of the car, if that makes sense. Because
Mm-hmm.
with these AI agents, it's really a new like it's a new way that you have to build these products and kind of think about designing them. And so, or like how you go about building them out. And so we built like the underlying engine to research property ownership information. And that involves like looking at public records, trying to scrape that information. It involves like just generally scraping search engine results, and running like searches. It's just like a pretty heavy data problem. So we focus on that to begin with. And what that has turned into now is like, is a full-blown sort of map and prospecting system where you can search for addresses and get property owner contact information. You can drop in a list of addresses in bulk and get high quality verified contact information. You could specify like a chat GPT prompt and
Cool.
and use that to get to high quality contact information, or you can like visually type in an address and plot that on a map and click pins, and take more of that rifle approach. Build out a list as you're kind of going, and saying, okay, this property is right in my wheelhouse, or this property, I think there's a particular opportunity that it makes sense for me to call on this for, etc. And then add that to a list. And that's a huge deal because like. One thing that every broker investor says is, "Hey, I prospect this way," or like, "I prospect this." It's doing the fireworks again. Um,
I'm sorry. I don't know.
fire,
I got to figure out how to
We've
turn that
never
off.
seen
no,
We've
it's
that
all
never
before.
good.
seen
I
that.
kind of like it.
It's hilarious. It's like, what the heck, dude? Sorry
For
about
those that are
that.
Um,
listening on like Apple or Spotify, there's like this crazy like fireworks display that keeps going on behind Coos. It's so funny,
Yeah, I'm
but
gonna
it
have to
is
figure
cool.
out how to
It's
turn
cool.
that off for sure.
Yeah, I got like the Ricky Bobby, like I'm just doing stuff with my hands and the fireworks are going off.
I think that's it. I think that's why it's just blowing up behind you. We're celebrating so much right now.
Yeah, exactly. No, but the main, I guess like the main thing to say with the map is it's flexible now. It's fast and it's like really flexible. So regardless of what your approach to prospecting is, because I mean we had conversations like this too early on. It's like there's
Mhm.
you call it like a rifle approach and then there's like shotgun approach. And what
100%.
this
Yeah.
what this map really enables, although it's extremely powerful, it's got good data coverage of properties, parcels, contact information, tenants is a thing that we're adding to that, as well as ownership information. I mean, but what it really hits at is like, regardless of how you prospect, whether that's like you want to go address by address through your list of buildings that you have checked out, walked yourself, and call on those, and get in touch with the property owners there. You can search those addresses one by one and take that really detailed rifle approach and get that contact information. And then the beauty of it is like anything that has to do with reaching out or getting in touch with this person like is fast. Like now
Mhm.
we have like instant data flow. So back to what I was saying and kind of rambling there about like the car and building the engine, like we made that a lot faster since in the past year. So that like engine to go and actually retrieve that information, it happens instantly now.
So are you
And
saying that you
so
can go on like almost like a so like the map is almost like a GIS where you can go click on a parcel and then it'll pull up and then you click a button and their contact information comes up?
that's it. That like
That's
you just
insane.
explained it better than I did.
Wow.
Um,
That's insane.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's sick. I
And
did not know that.
so no, I mean it's like it's a very significant update, and it has been like a big project. We started on it earlier this year, and it's one of the cool things too is like, and I think is really cool. I was telling you about like Mike McDonald process, like how do you do things? Like one thing that Gabe does is he like ships fast. Gabe's up my CTO, Gabe and Vincent. Um, Vincent is also like does a lot of back end stuff, and he's my other co-founder, brother of Gabe. But they'll like ship stuff, and you can start playing with it. And like at first, the map was just like a visual representation of all your calls with notes and and tag history. So you could look at a map and you could say like, okay, this is everything. This is everything I've called on. These are the buildings where I have some activity. So it's like a gist for that. And then what that evolved into, and what we worked on, and what people sort of guided us to with their feedback and using just that one very basic map is like, yeah, basically just that's got tool that's nationwide that has coverage of like all your main food groups of retail, multifamily, industrial,
Mhm.
office, land, self storage. We've got. I mean, like.
Yeah.
Yeah, you click on it and you get owner contact information immediately. You can check out a photo of it, link to the assessor website, basic information about the property, like like those same things that square footage, last sale date, last sale price, owner LLC. And the cool thing is like
Yeah.
we didn't have to like go grab like necessarily everything. Like in terms of figuring out good data, like we can be focused on a short list of data because we've been talking to so many folks in the industry, and they say like, no, I really just need like 10 things. And so
What
we
you just
focus
said.
on getting,
Yeah.
yeah, exactly.
Literally
So we
the items
focus
you
on
just
like
said.
getting accurate, yeah, accurate information for those 10 things. Makes the tool really powerful. People like it. And,
Yeah,
and,
that's
and then,
huge.
yeah,
I don't
so
want to. I want to just interrupt you real quick. I
please,
apologize, but
please,
I don't
please.
want to
Yeah.
gloss over what you said. Like, I literally, no joke, yesterday, we were going to start a new like campaign, right? And one of the hardest things in commercial real estate is getting good contact information, good data. So,
Yes.
like, I was literally filming a Loom video tutorial for our VA on how to go and basically do this for us in efforts to try to find better data. And so, because if you don't know what you're doing, or if you don't know anything about this and you're listening, or maybe you don't do this, basically you find a property. So sometimes, let's just say you pull a list. So you pull a list from somewhere like CoStar. Typically, it's CoStar, or maybe you get it from the local GIS actual website. But you pull a list from CoStar. Once you pull the list, you have to go either one by one and look up every single property. So CoStar is not accurate. So you got to go to the GIS, which is like the local county's website, their records, which that's accurate, but that doesn't have any contact. So you take it from CoStar, you take the address, you search into the GIS. Once you search in the GIS, you confirm the owner is the same. Once you get the owner name, typically it's an LLC because it's commercial real estate. You have to take the LLC name and go to the Secretary of State website. You take the Secretary of State or the LLC, put it in there. You go find the individual who owns that LLC. Then you take the individual's name. You go to White Pages. You search in his name. You make sure you get his right current where he actually lives address, and you put their name and their address. You click enter, and then there's 4 phone numbers, and you have to call all 4 of them, because a lot of times the first one's not accurate, then the second one, and then maybe the third. Sometimes you even got to get to like the 5th. It just takes a long ass time. Excuse my language, but it takes a long time, and you're doing that for 100 properties. And he just said you can click a button. That's
That's
just crazy. It's insane.
yeah, and that's like the power of the system, and like the cool thing about it is like we're using it's a different approach. Like we're using AI to go get this information, and so we're able to like
Mhm.
hit these resources like in real time, fresh, retrieve that data, and it's happening fast. It's funny you laid out that process. I have like I did like a side by side video of like using the Terracotta extension, which I'm very that's a really big win. It's basically everything that we just talked about, Graham, except it's packaged into like a free extension, Chrome extension for anyone to use. You guys should definitely download it because it's just got
100%.
that
Same here.
functionality, and it seems to us like if you think about like some of the stuff we have with like bulk searches and being able to pull this off across like Graham, to your point, like across 100 addresses, which our system is able to do as well now. That's
Mhm.
much more complicated thing technically, but like like you said, like it's a huge like time saver. So it takes 30 seconds at like a very leisurely pace. So I did this, I timed them, I did it side by side, and I filmed a video. It's on my LinkedIn if you want to check it out. It's like 30 seconds to type in an address, like at a relaxed pace, hit enter, like kind of browse through the information, check out the contact information in Terracotta. It takes 3 minutes to do the same thing through the process that you described, Graham, where you go to the county tax assessor website and you go to Office Secretary of State, you track the LLC, then you plug that into True People Search, Fast Pages, White Pages, and that doesn't even take into account the last thing that you mentioned, which ties back to verification in Terracotta, which is like you're calling four numbers at random, trying to figure out which one is going to be correct. Well, now you just duplicated the amount of work that you have to spend on that phone call by 4x, by 400%. So
Yep.
because you're not, going to the first sort of A plus as we have it in Terracotta, but like verified phone number for that contact.
Can I give
And
two examples of what we
yeah,
just kind of
please,
talked about?
please.
So I'm
Yeah,
sitting right here. Before we got on, I was looking through my list of Alamance County in North Carolina where I'm calling right now.
Why you gonna go tell them that?
What's that?
I said, why you gonna go tell them that? I'm just messing.
We run that county, by the way, so
Yeah.
please don't call it.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding. But so you can pull it by county. So for that, there's your shotgun example, and you
yeah,
can go through. You can search in like you said. You're going to call retail, and then you call your specific different subsection of it. Like industrial has a bunch of different subsections of industrial. You can actually click the individual one you want. Go pull your list, right? Go call it. Or you could type in an address. I did the parcel thing and clicked the parcel, and in like less than 5 seconds, it pulled up address, picture of the property, the information on the property, like we're talking like lot size, building a size. And then it gave
mhm,
me 5 phone numbers, and it has the A plus, A plus. So those are the 2 phone numbers you're going to call immediately. And then you can take that parcel and add it to your list right there on Terracotta in
Yeah.
less than
exactly.
probably 10 seconds.
And
Yeah,
another thing too is that like that's like what you said is goes across all the counties. If you're calling different counties, there are some counties that have the worst GIS. Every county's GIS is different. I mean, a couple of them are
yeah,
the same,
yeah.
but
I've
like
seen
some of them
a
are so
lot of them.
old and so
Yeah,
bad that it's like it takes you an extra 15 minutes just to figure out how to work their county website. So
Yep.
like the fact that you can do it in one thing. I mean, that's why we use LandGlide for a long time, and we still do, but
yeah.
maybe we won't anymore. But you can go on LandGlide and glide around on the the parcel and then click it, and then it has a county link in it, so that way you didn't have to go to every single GIS. You could just go to LandGlide,
But that doesn't
then
always
go.
work.
But it doesn't always work. Yeah, like so that's sick. That's
And
crazy.
and I paired with Gabe on that feature in Terracotta. He did like the heavy lifting for sure, like most of the intense like script writing. But basically, we were building that assessor link feature in Terracotta, and like we're looking at these county websites, and we're like, bro, some of these don't work. Like there's the data's not even there. Like you can't get it. You have to go there and you have to pay like $1 or you have to pay like $10. And so like figuring out workarounds to this, by the way, to like build this map was like a very fun, and it's a process. Like I keep coming back to that. Maybe it's like I went to school in Philly, and like the 76ers used to suck and now they're really good. There's like this trust the process thing. So maybe that's like drilled into my head for some reason. I don't know why I'm talking about that so much, but like it's a process like to build up to like a really good map. Like you have to handle like different sort of county quirks and like ways that they've got the data set up, and that's like really, it's funny because that's like a pain point that CoStar definitely solves. Or a lot of these other awesome, really awesome database platforms like solve that problem. I just think that like personally, like it's tricky. Like the data problem in commercial real estate is tricky. It's like it's different than any other
Mhm.
industry. Like I mentioned, I was in consulting. Like the way it's cut up, it is really a huge thing to try and tackle. And for a commercial real estate broker whose focus is on real estate, it's on like valuation, it's on finance, it's on like sales and prospecting. Like to try and navigate that data problem is like just it's hard. It slows you down. Like you're saying, it takes you 15 minutes to do something, it takes you 10 seconds to do. Just if the information's laid out correctly. And it comes back again to the process of like listening to brokers say like, this is all the information that I need. I don't need like I just need this. I want it to be right. And like can you aggregate this for me and do that? And I think
Mhm.
our thing is like, yeah, let's do it. We like hard problems. Let's figure out like the messy county situation. But to your point, like it doesn't always work. Like literally some counties just don't have like they don't have like an assessor link that's publicly available that you can just like hit a URL and go to, which is nuts. I mean, that's nuts. It's like
That is
we're coming
crazy.
to, yeah, 2026, but I have a lot of sympathy for you guys. Like I feel your pain. And so I'm hoping that some of the tools we're building, like LandGlide, like those ones that you mentioned, like they really make life a lot easier.
Yeah, and I think that's so cool, man. And I'm not just saying this. Like, you guys really went to your customer, like the brokers, and you talked to them and said, "What do you need? What problems are you facing?" And like
Yep.
you looked at it like from the perspective of you're the client, which is cool. And I think
Yeah.
that shows. It shows in the software.
That's
Yep.
awesome. Yeah, thanks for saying that. And I think it actually like we always get the question like so which one of you guys is the real estate guy or like what's your tie to real estate? And like I think it's very cool that we just had friends and we talked to friends and like listened to them and like
Mhm.
turned the floor over to them and shared like you guys are sharing now like details and just like wrote those down and we're like, okay, we're just gonna like work on that. I think that's like just kind of like the muscle memory, and so like we don't need to be like it's actually a lot more. I don't know. I mean, it's great to have a perspective, but I think you come in with like preconceived notions or anchors about the way things
Mhm.
should be or what's possible. And for us not having seen a lot of these problems for the first time until like an investor, a broker, a lender.
All right, it's Graham here. Let's be real. How long have you been saying you're going to get into commercial real estate? Has it been a year? Has it been two? It's intimidating. I get it. But Commercial Academy just launched Fast Track. And honestly, it removes every excuse that you've been making in your head. For one really low price, you can get an entire library of J. Scott Shields' education online, all recorded by Scott himself that has decades of proven strategies that's created a ton of millionaires. And now it's at your fingertips whenever you want. Plus, you'll unlock their deal crushing software, their opportunity evaluator, and their quick check. This stuff makes analyzing properties easier than just checking your email. And here's what blew my mind. Every Fast Track member gets a free ticket to the next Commercial Academy live event. That's hundreds of hungry investors, coaches, and J. Scott Shield in the same room. If you're done making excuses and ready to start making moves, this is it. Remember, it only takes one deal, one time to change your life forever. So text Fast Track to 888-653-1199. Again, that's 888-653-1199. The next wave of commercial real estate millionaires is starting now, and Fast Track is where it begins.
A business manager comes to us and says like, "Hey, I want to do this," is really like it's just like a good way of building tools, I guess, building software. So yeah, it's been really great. Yeah, and that was just like that's just the map, like that's just the map. And again, like I want to maybe we can like share the link because I just think like why would you not use we have an extension and it's kind of like it at least it lets you just search an address and see if the contact information is there and it's free to use and there's not any other tools that I'm aware of online that are just like free search like just go put in an address and like you get the contact information right away. So the extension, Chrome extension, tucks
Yeah.
in and it's basically like that map for any address that you come across on the web, on any in your CRM Salesforce database, in a Google Sheet, in an email. Like just click on the address, boom, see the parcel, get the contact information, send it to a list to call on. It's powerful. I think it's really powerful stuff.
Yeah,
You
that's
know,
sick. We'll
Yeah.
this is going to come out in probably like 2 weeks. So I mean, between now and then, you'll definitely have to get us that link and anything else you want to
yeah,
put in the show description, and we'll make sure it's in the description so that you
Yeah.
guys are
For
listening and you
sure.
want to go check that out. We'll have it there.
Yeah.
yeah,
I'm definitely not aware of any tool like that.
Yeah, that's crazy
yeah.
for free. I mean, like maybe there's some paid stuff, I don't know, but free is insane.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. It's I mean, it's cool because like we'll come maybe I'll talk a little bit about this, but like Vincent's like again another one of my co-founders, very brilliant engineer. He's really young too, which is cool, and not a lot of people know that. But he's super smart, and he kind of had like this epiphany that like extensions are like probably like the best UI for AI tools. So what I mean by that is like the status quo is kind of like you go to a web app. Like I'm trying to think like
Hmm.
Notion. People are familiar with
Yeah.
Notion for the most part, or like Salesforce Lightning. Like you go to this web app and then you use the software in the web app and they control the UI. But Vincent is like actually I think like and there's a lot of examples of other startups like our peers that have kind of started doing this and it seems to be working. Is like when you deploy AI through like extensions and natively within like the the tools that you're already used to working with, like your CRM, like your Salesforce. So we can have like Terracotta as an AI add-on or extension to enrich that experience and make it way faster. Like maybe that's the way we're going about things. But property research extension, AI extension, is the first of sort of, I think, a line of products that I'm very excited for us to roll out. It's kind of centered around that theory that like, okay, just like let's be helpful in as many places as we can, and use AI to do cool things again for people in commercial real estate is really the tagline for what we're trying to do.
Yeah, so
Have you
that's
guys?
sick.
Yeah, yeah, it's been really cool. Jesse, have you checked out like any of the analytics or like reports features in Terracotta?
Yeah, I honestly, because like Graham mentioned before, we've been so busy with
Yeah, no,
everything
it's
that
totally
the
cool.
freaking analytics have been terrible. But I know there's a bunch of new reports, and I was kind of walking. I had walked through like what some of the new reports are, but it looks a little intimidating just for myself to try to like to walk through and learn about this. But
Yeah,
because there's so much here.
That's probably a
yeah,
big thing. That's probably a big thing, like probably a big challenge with you guys is like you said, so many people are like, there's like a certain way people do things. And once people get
Yeah.
in a habit of doing
yeah,
things, switching is hard.
yeah.
So like for us, we've used it and it's been great when we use it, but also just being so busy, it's
Hmm.
hard to stop and then go and switch. So like, I'm sure when you're talking with people, they probably have like all kinds of preset habits that they give them a little bit of challenge for switching over to it.
Yeah,
Mhm.
for sure. And it's like, it's just, anytime you switch over or start doing something new, like it takes a little bit of time to get in the groove. But when you get in the groove, it's like, man, this is so much better.
Mhm.
Like, those little meeting note takers? This is just like a quick digression,
Yeah.
like Otter AI, Fireflies AI.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So like, I have tried all of them and like I started using one called Granola and it just works like really well for what I'm trying to do. And I feel like, it took me like I was like, I don't like this. It's like annoying, at first. Like I don't really know if I want to like even have this. But once you use it a few times, you get used to it. You start to like when it starts working and they're like in a rhythm with it, it's a really good feeling. So I feel like a lot of users, what we try to do is like get them to that point as quickly as possible and as frictionless as possible. But we joke that like, a lot of folks, and the other thing too, Graham, is that you didn't mention, but I think just to add on to what you said because it's spot on is like a lot of guys in the business have had like success doing those things that there are kind of like those ingrained sort of preset patterns or processes that they have, and so they found success and you're trying to say like, hey, you could try, you could try out this other way of getting it done, and you might see like all of the skills that you had and what you learned through your previous process, like you can actually just take the best of those and apply those and let AI fill in some of the gaps for you where you want it to, and obviously have a really nice UI to do that, and a nice platform, web app to kind of house like all that thinking and work for you. But
Because
yeah,
one thing that
go ahead,
sorry, I didn't mean to
go
cut you
ahead.
off, but one of the things that I wanted to highlight too that I feel like is pretty new is the conversations piece. You can go
Yeah,
back through and look through the different properties. It shows a picture, the name, the person, when you had the conversation, and you can play the recording back. So it's like,
yeah.
crap, I don't remember what he said. Go back and look at that. I just feel like it's a new interface that's pretty nice to go back and look
Yeah,
at.
yeah. So that's kind of what I was getting at with like the analytics and reporting. I mean,
Hmm.
those are like the three that I mentioned. So like, I think the map, the extension, and then the analytics and reporting has really come a long way. So like with regards to those reports, one thing that we noticed people were doing was they were like, there's a chart page in Terracotta that has like stats, like analytics, like cold hard, you know,
Yeah.
uh, what's your pickup rate? How many folks are converting into leads, etc. And you can see that pipeline and like tweak parts of your approach, callback rates, connect rates, make sure you're getting on the phone with folks, like you're getting callbacks at the rates that you should. But we noticed that people were taking screenshots of like the chart page and like sending them to investors. Brokers specifically were doing this. So they're representing the seller, and so they're calling on buyers, right? And so they just want to say, hey, I made
Mhm.
X amount of calls. And
Hmm.
so what we were able to do is say like, okay, if we just take those talk tracks, crunch that, take all notes, tags, insights, and aggregate that and put together like a suite of analytics on like what you're doing on the phone and package it into reports, which is the feature that Jesse was just mentioning. For anyone who's like listening on Spotify, Apple Music, it's really powerful and nice to be able to see that and refer back to that and share that with clients and just like internally, it's really awesome. If like for me, right? I've made a lot of cold calls. My co-founders have made a lot of, a lot of cold calls as well. And so like it's good to like review like notes on things and try to say like, okay, how can our team, get better at that. So you can review all of that as well. It's like a good coaching corner too.
Yeah.
Luca
I just
Luca is on our team. He calls it game. He calls it he's our head of growth. He calls it like the film room, like the game film room. I love that because it's like it's well said.
That's awesome. I had a thought for you. You can take this or leave it, but what would be sick, and you might, I'm sure you guys could figure out how to do this, or maybe you already have a way to do it, but like you talked about that report that you can get on calling for sellers. I feel like that's definitely something that's one of the hardest things about brokerage. It's like if you have 10, 15 listings, like right now, I think we have like 12 or something, and keeping the sellers up to date and making sure you're touching base with them once a week or maybe every other week. It's hard. It's a lot of work, just that in itself.
Definitely.
And then let
Yeah,
alone giving an update of what you're actually doing. Cause we do cold call for buyers.
yeah,
Crexy has a cool feature where every week you can set it like on Friday to come in where it'll give you a spreadsheet of leads for that week. And it'll give you like a
hmm
leads report. And every
hmm
Friday I get a leads report. And what I should be doing, I don't do this every single time, is taking that and sending it to the seller and being like, hey, we talked to these people. But if you had a way where like maybe you had a property list that was identified for your listing, 123 Main Street. This is a list of prospective buyers, and you put that in there, and you're calling them. And then on Friday, it sends you an email and says, "This is who I called." And then it maybe had like a note summary of some of the conversations or whatever. If you could get it
yeah,
to send you an email like that, that'd be sick.
yeah. I so that's exactly that's so you can do that. You
Oh,
can queue
sick.
up like an email weekly, and it does exactly what you just described.
Oh, that's amazing.
So the challenge is actually like we were talking about this to like our team, and we are like, man, like the engineering team is shipping like a lot of updates really fast. I mean, because I mean we work on it all the time. Like the
Mhm.
engineering team is like really kind of like the lifeblood of what a lot of what we're doing, and like the challenge has now become like how do we get the word out as effectively as possible about all these new features that we have and how to use the system. I joke that like terracottas. Actually, the original joke was when you're building like a phone system, right? Like, there's like a lot of SaaS, which is like you're clicking on things and dragging blocks and buttons, like think something like Notion. Terracotta has like a lot of live components. Like you need to connect, and this needs to happen. Like this tool that we're using, VoIP in general, like it's one of the tricky parts about building that software. So we always used to joke like we're not building video game software. Like this is getting too complicated. Some of the mechanics of like the AI voice and the calls and the dialer and stuff like that. But now I joke that like, Terracotta can sometimes feel like like you're learning how to play a video game. So like, what are the controls? What does this button do? And so there's stuff like so much, so many features jam packed. We're gonna be putting out sort of like a help guide so that it's like more accessible to people because I think we kind of like got in over our skis a little bit and just built so much incredible stuff. So we're gonna like just make it more accessible, help guides like workflows, how to think about certain things that you can do in the platform and really just show like, how awesome it is in different ways and what it's capable of. And then also part of that is just like I would encourage people to like just play with it. Like click on the
Mm.
little tabs in the bottom left, like click every button on the page, like see what it opens up. We have like a lot of like functionality, at least visible on the platform for anyone to come see. So like if you're just curious what it does, stop like, just check out the homepage and reach out to us. Like we love to talk to you, hear what's you're struggling with in like your business and what your goals are and how you're thinking you want to use AI. And we could probably build like a really cool feature or ship something that helps you do what you want to do more efficiently. So yeah,
That's sick, man.
I'd say I would say I'm very excited about where the product is going. And what we've got so far and what we've accomplished. And like, yeah, 1 year, man, hopefully we should. I mean, whether or not we do like a full episode or we just jump on a call and hang out, we gotta like stay in touch,
Yeah, for
at least
sure.
around this time of year. Because
100%.
yeah, it's a really enjoyable conversation and it's cool to reflect on like what we've done at Terracotta. I gotta ask you guys one question as well. I hope that's okay.
Of
So
course.
And this ties back to one of the things I was hoping we could talk about, and I mentioned this. I planted the seed early at the beginning of kind of the episode, but I've been focusing like a lot this year on marketing.
Hmm.
And what I've realized is like, okay, doing things sort of digitally is like, I mean, you can make a lot of calls, and that goes a really long. I think it's imperative. Like it's like eating. It's like your steak and potatoes kind of is like making the calls. But like we've been experimenting with like lots of different marketing channels and trying out different things. You guys clearly have like found a really natural way to do that for your podcast and for your brokerage and what you do as far as like your investment sort of wing of what you do goes. Like how do you guys think about creating like really authentic content? I mean, like literally like this podcast is a great example of
Mhm.
that. But like I don't I guess like I'll ask a pretty pointed question is like, I don't want to like just make like content for the sake of making it or because it's grabby or like catches people's attention. I want it to be
Hmm.
like authentic and stuff that I care about, or not even care about, but just like I'm interested in and I like doing. How do you guys like go about that and share what you're working on in a way that's like, authentic, but also like effective and accomplishes like what you're trying to do, grow this podcast, grow your businesses.
Yeah, the truth is we're still trying to figure that out. It's
Yeah.
so hard
Yeah,
because like you go through the like everybody nowadays wants to make content, right?
yeah,
And we did, and we knew it was important. And everybody knows it's
Mhm.
important. It's very important.
Yeah.
But you just go through this cycle, and we've definitely gone through the cycle of where okay, we got to post every single day. Well, if we post every single day, then it's hard. It's hard to post every day, and then it's
yeah,
forced you to
yeah,
put out stuff. A lot
You
of
don't
stuff
want to,
ends up
yeah.
being garbage, and then you're like, I don't want to
yeah,
put out garbage because that's not the brand image I'm going after. I want
yeah,
it to be authentic, and I want it to be high quality. And it's like if you want to make high quality stuff,
yeah.
then it takes a long time. And then you end up posting like once a month or something. And then it's like, well, I'm not posting enough. And so it's
Mhm.
definitely a delicate balance and very hard. Still trying to figure that out. I think, a lot of the big guys who post all this content every single day consistently, four,
Hmm.
five, six, 7 times, they have somebody full time working for them. We're not there
Hmm.
yet. That'd be sick to get to that where we are trying to find like a part time person who can help us with some of the content stuff.
Hmm.
So it's either that where you have like, a lot of money and you can pay somebody to do that, or you have a lot of time and it's like one of your main things. It's almost like a whole job.
Yeah.
So what I've
Yeah.
boiled it down to lately is just, I haven't posted a lot lately because my family, we moved and it has taken a heck of a lot of time and we've got a bunch of deals we're closing and stuff. So,
Hmm.
I just try to make sure when I do post something, it's something that I would, that I like you said, something maybe I'm interested in that I like that I think would add value. And it's
Yeah.
cliche, but like really trying to add value for the
Yeah.
people you're posting for. Cause that's like a whole nother thing. Like I have a bazillion different interests. You look at somebody like Joe Rogan, he talks about like fighting and conspiracy theories and like a bazillion
Yeah.
different things. And he's so big that he can do that. But when you're just starting out, nobody cares what you're interested in. Like, you know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? So it's a balance of like posting stuff that's valuable and that people will get value from and
Yeah.
that's interesting to them versus posting stuff that you're interested in.
Yeah.
And finding a good mix of
Absolutely.
that is also challenging too. I mean, I still like will post stuff that, gets no views and people don't care, but I'm like, whatever. I like making videos and I like making this.
Yeah.
But I do think it makes you more, like the more things you post about and actually truly show your interest, it
Yeah.
does that part does make you feel more authentic.
Yeah.
So I don't think I gave you a very clear answer.
No, you
I just
did.
like we're trying to figure it out still too. I'm sure Jess
Yeah.
has got some thoughts, but
Yeah. I mean, when you want to post something that people enjoy, you kind of find yourself into a black hole of you're never going to please what everybody else is going to
Mm.
want. And so you have to keep it about what you've been doing. I listened to somebody, and I forget his name. He's a bodybuilder guy, but he's like, you got to almost post like 80% just what things that you've been up to. And then
Mm.
whatever you're trying to push, what are you trying to like make your content about, almost got to make it 20% because people want to see what you're up to. They want to see, they may not necessarily care about commercial real estate, but you're talking about it. And for me, just personally, like I had to like be super humble about exactly what my learning lessons are. And sometimes you got to share the losses. And
Hmm.
I feel like when you're vulnerable out there, that people respond to that a lot better. You may not see it, but Graham and I get messages all the time from people saying, hey man, like I really appreciated what you guys shared. I found this to be helpful. And there's a lot of like off the social media conversations that
Yeah.
posting, and it's you post, you don't get likes. You're like, why am I doing this, dude? Like, I'm trying to add value to people, and nobody cares,
Yeah,
right? And then
yeah,
you go to your hometown or something like that, right? Like for you, like going back to Philly, and like, oh, dude, I saw that you guys are doing all this terracotta stuff,
yeah,
and like you haven't
yeah,
talked to this dude in literally 4 years, and this guy knows everything that's been going on in the last 3 to 6 months in your life, and you're like,
yeah,
okay, this is why I'm posting.
Yeah,
And,
I think to summarize what Jesse's saying, we've heard this from several very successful guys, and one of them was his name's Austin Rutherford. He's in one of the masterminds we're in. We're trying to get him on the podcast. We're supposed to, but we're scheduling it.
okay.
He said
Let me know when
document.
he if he comes on. I want to check that out.
Yeah, for sure. He said
Yeah.
document, don't create, and I feel
yeah,
like that's really good. And I feel like you guys, I don't know if you've seen like what's the guy's name who's so famous on YouTube? Dang, Daniel Dallin, I think his name is. Have you ever seen that guy?
I don't think I have.
He like blew up on YouTube.
Okay,
Like he
I'll
started
check him
like
out.
maybe a year ago, and he's got like, well, last time I looked, over 150,000 subs. But his whole premise is he basically
Hmm.
like was building in public. So like he goes and he posts videos of like he moved to China and like building some kind of shipping e-commerce thing in China, right? But he just started
Yeah,
documenting it. And his videos are like 45 minutes to an hour long. And it's just like different camera angles of him like working. And then he'll just like talk to the camera every once in a while, like, yeah, guys, like this week I was doing this, this, and this. It's just very raw and very authentic. And I feel like he blew up and was so successful because so many people nowadays, I mean, I'm sure you guys can agree, but I'm so tired of going on Instagram and seeing the here's 5 reasons why you should do this, this, and
yeah,
this. Or like, if you don't do these 3 things, you're gonna like die. Like all this ridiculous stuff. Like everybody tries to catch your attention with negativity, like that's a fact. And so there's like all these 20-second, 30-second reels that are like that had an era, I feel like, that worked. But now people
yeah,
I feel like are tired of that stuff. You know, I've definitely
yeah,
posted some of that type stuff and I post, I'm like, this is stupid. Like, why did I post that?
yeah,
And so like just being more raw and authentic, especially even with AI, I've seen people say like
yeah,
the more raw and authentic you get, the more successful you will be because people see you're just being genuine. And I'm very thankful because a lot of people have said to us, like in person, like, we like you guys podcast because you are authentic. You're not trying to blow smoke. You're not trying to be super cocky or anything. We don't, we just are trying to document what we're doing
mm-hmm.
yeah,
and hopefully add value to other people while we're doing it. I feel like if
yeah,
you just go based off that, like, I mean, it would be sick. I would totally watch your stuff. Like if you were like, you know, making videos about day in the life of what you guys are up to at Terracotta. And hey,
yeah.
this week we went and visited Bob Knackle and talked to him about, you know, if you had somebody doing that stuff, that'd be sick. What's up? It's Graham here. I want to tell you guys about somebody who absolutely proves that this stuff works. We've had him on our podcast before. You guys might remember him, Sean Katona. Picture this. Sean started out flipping houses and he was doing pretty good, but he felt like he was missing out on something bigger. Then he met Jay Scott Shield and realized that commercial real estate is just like residential real estate, except for you add several more zeros and commas. Sean jumped into Scott's training, rolled up his sleeves, and got to work. Fast forward to today. Sean has built an impressive portfolio, he's spearheaded over 80 deals, and he's living life on his terms. And now he's one of Commercial Academy's top coaches and hosts. Talk about a full circle moment. And here's the exciting part. Sean created his own custom masterclass to talk about how he went from flipping houses to a commercial real estate master. If you've ever thought, man, I just need somebody to show me how to do it, and someone who's actually done it before, Sean's your guy. Sean's journey proves it only takes one deal, one time to change your life forever. And now he's handing you his roadmap. Text Sean Masterclass to 888-653-1199. Again, that's 888-653-1199. It's not just training, it's learning from someone who transformed their entire investing career. Are you going to be next?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, I love that. I love that word of like documenting, you know, document what you're doing as opposed and just a way of thinking about it like that. And you guys do that too. I mean, like that's kind of what prompted me too is I noticed like you had this post of like your team. I think it was like offsite, and like you guys were all like wearing like surf gear. It was an awesome photo, and it was like you know that's like an authentic post, but you talked about like team building and like the importance of like connecting with one another. I think that resonates with anyone, like, you know, in a work setting. I think of that to myself all the time. Like, man, Gabe and Vincent, or like me and our team just need to like go hang out and like go play pool or something. And so like just, you
Mm-hmm.
know, taking out a photo, it takes 30 seconds to like boom, take the photo. You're sitting on the runway before you're heading back home. Like you draft up a post and let it fly. Like I almost think too, like sometimes it can be like, oh, I'm scared to post, or like I don't know what, I don't want to get
Mm-hmm.
0 likes. But like you were saying too, Jesse, it's like that's how it kind of works. Like social media, like there's a lot of people looking at
Yep.
stuff and not doing anything, but like them seeing it is meaningful, and it's a way of like connecting with people and sharing what you're doing. And it's funny that you mentioned that, Graham, because like what I've thought of doing is, well, a few things. Like I think for me personally, I have a background in consulting, so I think it's like authentic. I think it's value. It's more of on the value add side for me to say like, let me just get like really deep into data and analysis of like I was like an economics major, so like the econ behind like the real estate market and this one particular asset type in this one particular submarket. Like I think that'd just be a cool series. Maybe I do like I don't know. I could do it forever. Every county in the country. But
Yeah, I
that's
think if
sort of
you
one thing. Or like I was thinking about doing like Twitch streams too, like just setting up a camera and like talking to my camera, showing my screen and just being like, hey, this is what I'm working on right now. Exactly what you described. You said his name's Daniel Dalen.
I think that's his name, Daniel Dallin.
Daniel Dalen.
Dallin, I
Okay,
don't know. If you type it in on YouTube, if you type in Daniel and then start with D, it'll probably pop right up. But he's got
sick.
cool stuff. He makes like aesthetically cool stuff. So does a guy named Jesse knows the guy. His name's Blake Rocha.
Oh
He's
yeah.
got
Okay,
like Airbnb stuff, but the way he like makes videos is really cool. It's like very raw,
yeah.
and he's got like
Mhm.
it's cool. But I was gonna say, I think like the biggest moral of the story is like you're talking
Hmm.
about. I think I was gonna do a Twitch stream. I might do this. Might do that. Just do it. Just
Yeah,
start
bro.
doing it
Yeah,
now, and
exactly.
like you'll slowly find out what works, what you like better, what's easier to
Yeah,
fit in your schedule, and it takes freaking time. You like, I'm sure there's lots of people who go on social media and they post stuff and they blow up. That's not happened to me. That's for dang sure. It's been a
yeah.
long, slow grind. I still don't have a huge following by any means. I have like 1,600 on Instagram or something. YouTube finally got
Hmm.
over 1,000. I'm like 1,200, 1,300
Congratulations.
subs. Thank you. And
Yeah,
but you would
what's
be
up?
shocked though. You'd be shocked because I have like 1,600 followers on Instagram, right? And I got reached out to by I won't say anything yet because it's not like official. I probably can't, but I will. I got reached out
Yeah,
to by a company that is going to sponsor me to make an ad for them, and they found me off Instagram. And I asked them, I was like, how'd you guys find me? Like, just Instagram. I was like, well, I have like 1,600 followers. That's crazy. They're like, yeah, we love your
yeah,
content. I was like, that's wild. And it's a big brand. It's
yeah,
like a pretty big brand.
yeah.
So like,
And
it's just slow and steady.
exactly. Exactly. Like so just this is completely unrelated, but like I think I mentioned this last time, but I'm like into audio engineering and music production as well. And so like I put out a lot of songs and I remember like, you always hear about like artists blowing up and I've seen stories like people from Seattle that I grew up making music with like actually blow up overnight and that's one of like the
Right.
coolest things to witness in the world. But I mean like I put out a lot of music. Like had a lot of people listening to stuff. But it was like steady. You just do it weekly. Like I always think about Russ. I'm not a huge fan of Russ's actual music or like his attitude towards things, but like I can respect like he did this thing where he put out basically a song every week for like 2 years
Yeah.
until he found success in music, and I think that's like one of the
Mhm.
coolest stories of just like I'm not gonna stop. And like you see that like across a lot of different things. That's been like a really cool learning. Is working on Terracotta in my mid 20s is like you just show up every day. I see it from
Yep.
customers. Like there's a guy in Terracotta. This is my favorite. I've been like telling everyone about this lately. But there's a guy on Terracotta. He's a broker. I won't give like too much information about him because I didn't ask him before sharing this. But like he just set up a plan for 1 month. And he didn't miss, and like like he has his analytics dashboard he's showing me in Terracotta. He didn't miss calls for a single day. He did 100 calls every single day in the month of July, and he had like a very clear goal. By the end of the month, he made 2,200 calls. He had like 56 or 52, I think, like legitimate leads. People that were potential clients down the line, people we could work with, and then he ended up listing like a six property portfolio, in Cali, and it's like it's just that
What do you think that
consistency.
value on that property was? Just curious. Roughly,
I'm
just give me like
not
a very
sure.
rough, like maybe $5
The
million, $6 million. It's just
Yeah, well, on the portfolio, so six property portfolio, multifamily. Again, I don't want to give. I'm thinking about the
yeah, yeah.
market. Like, yeah, probably like like $10 million. Like
So yeah,
at least $10 million.
10 million bucks times at that level, you're probably only getting like 2%. But and depending on his brokerage split, let's say he gives them people to brokers splits take quite a bit. So let's just say he keeps 70% of it. So
Yeah,
that probably, if he sells that, he'll probably make, this is approximate numbers based on a 2% commission and a 70% net. He's going to make 140 grand.
yeah. 100 days
That's,
of calls. Oh,
yeah.
sorry, 100 calls a day for 22 days. 22 days on the phone.
Yeah.
It's
That's the
like,
beauty.
yeah,
That's the beauty of brokerage,
yeah,
man. It's like,
Yeah.
it's
yeah,
powerful if you just do it.
yeah,
It's
Hmm.
powerful.
yeah.
That's so cool, man.
Seriously.
There was one other thing I was gonna say. Let me see if I can remember what I was gonna say. Oh yeah, y'all. The funny thing we're talking about all this stuff is you guys actually reached out to me and I asked how you found me, and Hillary said YouTube, and
Hmm.
I legitimately think I had 150 subscribers. Like I
That's
seriously think it
so
was like
funny.
150, but we had put out like probably 30 episodes or something.
Yeah.
Probably.
We had a lot of episodes, so I mean that's it's just wild.
Yeah, and like that what you just said, the fact, because I think I remember working with Hillary, like because we were like checking out a bunch of like just what others were doing in the space, and like we kind of just went down a rabbit hole. Because and like it was there because you guys had been diligent about like sticking with it. So like the content was there, it was high quality, and so like it's yeah, exactly. Like that, I think that's such a great example. And like I remember when we checked it out, we were like, this is just legit. Like this is just like a legit thing is the way that at least we interpreted it, and you guys are obviously great after getting to know you, but like it's cool too because you almost feel like you kind of know these guys like before the first introduction just based off of the content, which is another huge sort of byproduct of it that is really powerful and effective.
Mhm.
Yeah. Well, we appreciate that, man. Seriously.
Yeah, for real.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's so cool what you guys are doing. Like I think I think this particular like this first episode we did and now this one, this is like one of my favorite things I've gotten to do. Like as a co-founder of Terracotta, like this is just talking about the business, hanging out with you guys. It's just like so much fun.
Yeah, man. Same. Likewise, it's awesome. I mean, I think that's what's cool in entrepreneurship. A lot of times, people say real recognize real, right? I think
Yeah.
you guys
Yeah.
are crushing it and doing well, and
Hmm.
we're trying as well. So I think it's cool. There's a lot of mutual respect. So
Yeah.
we
Yeah.
appreciate it, man. And
Yeah.
yeah, I know you said you were getting close to probably had a hard stop in a couple minutes. So what would be if people want to find out about Terracotta, they want to reach out
Mhm.
to you, they want to talk to you guys, what's the best place for them to go?
It's just go straight to the homepage. It's Terracotta, TerrakOtta.ai. So Terracotta with a K in the middle. And then if you want to grab that extension, it's just Terracotta.ai slash extension. Is all you got to do to go there. So / extension, and then you can get that free tool that I was telling you about earlier.
Yeah, that's sick. Yeah, it's
Awesome.
funny. After we interview you guys and we started using software and stuff for like 2 weeks, I was like, TERR. Is there two? Is there one? A,
Yeah,
C? I was
yeah.
like struggling because I'm not good at
So I
spelling
had to
anyway.
spell it out.
So I was like, oh my God. And it took me forever. I found it's like, I'm bookmarking this, and I bookmarked it so I could have it every time. But
Yeah,
that's hilarious.
yeah. No, it's funny because like the name and the logo, like I don't know if you can. I'm wearing my terracotta sweatshirt today, but it's like a phone number pad, and it's got like a T, and it's got like the shape of like it looks almost like a aerial like view or like a satellite view of parcels or something like that, and like
Oh,
grid
that's sick.
lines, but also looks like
Yeah.
yeah, like the phone number pad too, and it's like the clones, like terracotta soldiers or clone versions. Like it's so funny. Like Vincent just came up with all this like immaculate branding in like 30 minutes and was like, hey, we're gonna call it Terracotta, like name it with a K. Like this is a logo. We were like, cool. And then kept pushing and like just has fit the
Talk about
company
a vision.
so perfectly, like just really without us having to do anything. But yeah, that's where to find us. Just go to the website, Google us. That's the best way.
Awesome. Well, yeah, I think this has been great.
Hmm.
This will probably be, another one of our top episodes. I think so much value. I mean, in the conversation and also just in the app. I know for a fact I'm going to be using that, one lookup feature on the map. That's sick.
Yeah,
But yeah, yeah, we
for
appreciate
sure.
you coming on here, man. And if you guys are listening and you want to check it out, definitely go to their website, and we'll put the links to the one
Yeah.
terracotta and also the extension
So nice.
in the show notes. So. We appreciate it. Awesome. Well, thank you guys for listening, and we'll see you in the next one.
Yep. Thank you.